the Pope was going to have a lunch with with transgender people, showing that he's super liberal and he is super accepting of transgender ideology, even though he's never said anything to that effect. And even his predecessor, Pope Francis, who people consider super woke, um, said that transgenderism is evil. But here was the headline: Pope Leo XIV will have lunch with 4 trans women in unprecedented meeting. And we have people like whoever this is, many large names on X saying similar messages to this. I didn't think it was possible, but this pope might be even more radical left wing than the last one. Whoa. I can't believe this. How could this happen? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Catholicism has fallen. Oh no. And as usual, we realize the actual news story is nowhere near the headline. And in fact, Pope Leo is being heavily criticized by LGBT groups and media outlets. So the people on X who are terminally online are totally blowing the story out of proportion because they think the Pope is too woke. And meanwhile, the LGBT people are mad at him because he's not woke enough. And let's see what actually happened. So they say he's being criticized by LGBT groups and media outlets. It comes after he was accused of a snub to transgenders after they were moved from the top table in a break with a custom from the last few years at the 1,300 person dinner for the Jubilee of the Poor. So, can we just acknowledge how silly this is? So, here, the original story sounded like the Pope was going to go and have lunch with 4 trans women, like alone, and he was going to go and tell them how great they are. And yes, he should keep being trans because, that's beautiful and stuff. When in reality, this was a lunch that had 1,300 people there. It was for a dinner for the Jubilee of the Poor, which, let's be real, nobody is more poor than a transgender person. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that that is a genuine poverty of worldview, to believe that your biological sex is changeable and that you're not actually the biological sex that you were born into. That is like genuinely a really sad place to be. And it is a that uncertainty about life, that lack of clarity about life, is a very deep state of poverty. But this is a 1,300 person event, and the Pope isn't sitting across from transgender people and telling them how great they are. They were sitting somewhere in this massive crowd, and I'm sure the Pope maybe like said hi to them or something, if that. And that was probably the extent of the interaction, if there even was an interaction. So it's just funny how these things get super blown out of proportion. So yeah, there were people posting about this. I don't know who this is. Brie Adale. Brie Adale. I don't know. Sorry. I am sick. Thank you for your patience. But this person says, despite certain reports claiming Pope Leo XIV was dining with transgender activists today, this is a photo of the actual lunch event with over 1,300 of Rome's poor. Okay. So there you go. Always question those posting rage bait headlines, crisis pornographers, the lot of them. Very, very true. Just wait until the actual thing happens. At this point, like, I don't trust anything when somebody says, did you hear that the Pope is gonna, as soon as the Pope is gonna, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait until that actually happens. And then we can be upset about it or relieved that it's not what we thought it was or whatever. But the thing is, these things never get as much publicity as the headline that was spread before the thing actually happened. So everybody spreads the headline of the Pope is going to go and affirm 4 transgender activists or something. That gets a bajillion views because everyone loves hearing how woke the Pope allegedly is. But then when the Pope actually, quote unquote, snubs the transgender activists, that doesn't get any recognition. Like, nobody's posting about that today. Nobody cares because they realize, oh, I can't be mad about that anymore. Well, let me find something else to be mad about then. It's ridiculous. It's silly. And you shouldn't take these headlines on X that seriously. I said this yesterday on Cameron Riker's channel, but if you're if you become a Catholic because of the trad memes and stuff like that, because look how based the Pope is, look how much aura the Catholic Church has. Now it is true, the church does have immense aura. There's no comparison to it in in all of the rest of Christendom, nor in any other religion. The church has the most aura out of any religion. And the Pope has a lot of aura as well. You can't deny that. But the thing is, there are going to be times when the church does something, or when, higher ups in the church do something that we consider a little bit cringe. The Pope blessing a block of ice, we can all kind of agree that that was pretty cringe. But you shouldn't, truth is truth. Okay, truth is truth. If the Catholic Church is the church that Jesus Christ founded, then that is the church you should be in. Whether the Pope is doing something cringe or the Pope is doing something extremely based. So you can't base your faith on who has the best memes right now. I feel like a lot of people do this, and it's very unfortunate. And if that's how you live, if that's how you find truth, quote unquote, then your truth is going to change very frequently. Because one day the Catholic Church is going to have good memes, the church is going to be super based, and then one day somebody's going to do something cringe, like bless a block of ice, and then you're going to go to some Orthodox church, and then they're going to be super based, and then you're going to be like, well, this is kind of cringe because they allow for divorce and remarriage, so I'm going to go somewhere else, and then you're just going to be bouncing around to, and I think I saw recently, I think I retweeted it. Let me find it. But there's always going to be some kind of a cringe story coming out of some church, and there's always going to be some sort of a based story coming out of some church, and you can't base your entire faith on things like that. It's very fleeting. Let's see. Here's the story that I saw yesterday. Pope Respecter is a great account on X as well. I think I always shout him out. But this was him responding to some ortho bro probably, but he says, maybe take care of your own church before policing Catholics. And this is a headline saying, Orthodox Church in Montenegro baptizes first out trans person. So look, if you're going to go and try to find a religion that is impeccably based, nobody in this religion ever does anything cringe, good luck. Good luck. You do things that are cringe sometimes. I do things that are cringe sometimes. So that's not a good standard.